Hey, welcome to Mad Dog's After Show. It's going to be a very special episode with the Mad Dog and Cole, the Rally Master, Farrell.
If you go to the outside of turn 4, you can hold it.
I decided to fly through the air and live in the sunlight and enjoy life as much as I could, and that's just what I'm doing.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure? Stay calm.
Man, oh man, 115 episodes, starting with those incredibly inspiring words from the unbelievable Mr. Evil Knievel. Flying through the air, living in the sunlight, and enjoying life.
Absolutely. And we get to do that, and we get to do this 115 times because of our first responders and our brave men and women of the armed forces. Could not do this podcast without them. All the sacrifices they make. So just want to make a special shout out to all of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we can't go without a real heartfelt thank you to all of our veterans. And of course, the families of those that gave all, the MIA and KIA. Thank you so much. Dude, as you see, I am on the road, and man, I am goosebumps with excitement. So, speaking of goosebumps, man, that new subwoofer from Kicker Performance Audio I put in the grinder just gives me goosebumps every time I hear it. Dude, that dual 10 setup with their brand new LX amp is just, it's bitching. It's musical, but it's strong,
Yeah.
I'm super stoked. You can get hooked up too over at kicker.com or check them out on Instagram at Kicker Audio. Of course, Bomber Eyewear, Bomber Safety Eyewear, Bomber Floating Eyewear, bombereyewear.com, or on Instagram at Bomber Eyewear. Assault off-road accessories like none other. Premium quality. You can find them. Assault Industries, assaultind.com, or on Instagram at Assault UTV. Of course, Cole sharing his passion for all things desert racing through the lens of a camera and his passion for being on the mic, available for your MC and announcer needs. Get that smooth riff going. Hit us up here on our Instagram at AFTR_podcast. We'll get the message to him, I promise. Of course, Shutter and World Media for all your video and photo production needs. You can find her on Instagram at Shutter and Whirl. And you go to her bio, click the link because her website's really long. So check out everything she does. And of course, Hey Geeks Marketing, out there making a difference in the social media world and in the website world, and there for you. You can find her at heygeeks.com or on Instagram at Hey Geeks Marketing. Well, I told you it was going to be special, folks. Here it is, the Podfather himself, episode 115. 99 episodes ago, we had Jim Beaver on. His number, his whole life, has been 15. He asked for number 115, and here we are. I didn't think we'd make it.
Well, I personally am just stoked you guys made it this far. You guys have made it way farther than pretty much 99% of podcasts, I think, at this point. So, like, now it's an institution. You're rolling. That's awesome. Congratulations to you guys. I know you even brought in some sponsors. Like, you guys are rolling, man.
Yeah, we're loving it. We're still having fun. That's the big thing is like I'm not, when we kicked it off, you and I talked, you've been so much help to us. And man, if anything, this is a huge shout out and thank you episode for all the help from how to get started and what to do, what not to do, and all the way to headsets. I mean, dude, we're so grateful.
Oh, well, I'm just happy you guys are still here. I tune into the show when I can. I can't promise you I do it every single week, but I do catch some episodes here and there. You know what I mean? When one piques my interest, and man, I'm stoked you guys are just rolling and killing it.
Yeah, thank you. I feel like we are. It's as you know, it's subjective, right? So, but it's all good. It's all good. Man, speaking of killing it, holy cow. Um, just in the background there, you got it all. Vision wheel, rigid, general tire, misadventure life, and of course JB15 racing, all that. But misadventure life is your new apparel. Well, new within the last, what, 8 months or a year?
We soft launched it a year ago at Parker. So we're probably 16, 17 months in. It really didn't launch until November of last year. So we're probably truthfully about 7, 8 months in. I mean, man, you've actually sacrificed a finger to the cause, Lauren. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, just two fingertips. So it'll be all right. We
so,
actually talked about that last summer after I did it. And we, it's funny because I wasn't going to bring it up, and Cole, I had my hand up and out of screen with the splints on, and every time I moved a little bit, it showed up. And finally, I was like, "All right, we just got to go there." But
we got to talk about the gorilla in the room.
Yep.
yeah,
The
yeah.
lobster claw.
But man, it totally worth it. I mean, just to see one. I'm so stoked. We've been Bomber Brothers for
Yeah.
a long time, and now Team Kicker, and I'm so stoked to see you guys, collaborating on so much cool stuff, and really happy to be a small part of it for sure. And well, leave a small part of it, I guess. but but you know, yeah, I really wanted. I mean, there's so much, dude. You're so busy. You've relaunched the podcast, and that's just going like gangbusters.
Yeah, I think, and I've done some speaking on this and done some podcast interviews and done some kind of speaking, and I this industry, I say, and I don't care if you're a race car driver, I don't care if you're a guy like you and I that work on 1099s, Lauren, like whether you're a brand, a motorsport series, it doesn't matter. I call it adapt or die. And if you're doing the same thing you were 10, 12, 13 years ago, chances are you're not doing very good at it if you're still even
Yep.
around. And I think that's kind of been why I've been able to have some longevity in this industry. It's just I've continued to innovate. I've changed every year. It's what's next. What do my partners want? Where do I think's emerging? And then and I've also diversified. I've got my hands in some cookie jars, and I'll be truthful. I haven't really spoke publicly about it, but this has probably been these last 6 months, probably the roughest 6 months of my entire career. Just there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and it's been really a rough 6 months. But the only reason I've actually been able to sustain that is because I've got my hands in a bunch of different cookie jars, and we're involved in a bunch of different things. So if one or two or even three things dry up all at once, like they kind of did this year, I've still got two or three things that I can rely on. Is it financially the greatest right now? No, but we're still paying the bills and plugging along, and stuff will reemerge, and we'll continue to push on.
Well, yeah, that's man, how inspiring. I mean, really, it's you know, it doesn't get more real or grassroots than that. And I'm grateful for you being raw. And you and I have talked a little bit, and It's kind of at times, you come to that where it's like, hey, focus, diversify, and keep having fun because we're still paying the bills, right? So,
And that's completely it. I think any of us that are in this industry, and we're all living the dream, so to speak. I mean, we get to go to these amazing events and meet with all these awesome people. You and I get to be talking heads, and Cole, it's just one of those where I think it's pretty amazing. Anybody that's been able to carve out a living for, I mean, shoot, if you can do it for a year, it's great. If you've been able to do it for decades, like some of us, man, it's even better.
yeah,
I think we've all given, parts of our soul to this industry.
yeah, without a doubt. And Cole included, I mean, he's still crew chiefing with motorcycle team and still doing some MC and announcer work in the industry. So, we've all been able to still be a part of it, adapt to the situations around us, whether it be like severe injury or work drying up or whatever, we're blessed. I think, honestly, I think a lot of it has to do with the metal, METTLE, that we're made of, because a lot of people would just go, well, screw it. I can't do it.
Yeah. Go get a job at Home Depot.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree with you. I think you've got to have some resiliency in this industry. I don't care what hat you wear, whether you're an entrepreneur, you're a on-air personality, you're work for a brand, you own a brand. I mean, you're a racer. Like at some point, you're going to get dealt bad news in this industry.
yeah,
It's just one of those. So it's the resiliency and how you bounce back from it, and I think, anybody that's been around here long, I can tell you it's not always rainbows and unicorns. I mean, but the highs are really fun, let me tell you, but the lows, they're pretty darn low.
yeah, I would concur with that, Cole.
Yeah. There's definitely lows, but some of the things that you get to do and get to see when you're on a program like that, just you can't describe it. To no offense, people who work in offices like myself now. Luckily, I get to see both worlds and kind of keep my toes lukewarm. But yeah, it's a blessed but difficult life.
Yeah, that's well said for sure. So, but I want to, man, one, thank you. I watched your video clip. I didn't watch the whole thing yet, but from the most recent where you were speaking about podcasts and stuff like that, and insightful. I mean, it's just like I guess you've been doing it so long, it's probably some of the stuff is automatic to you, but to some of us, it's like, oh, that's brilliant, you know?
Well, and I think, and honestly, that's where I give you guys a lot of credit, because starting a podcast now, especially just a podcast, it's tough. It depends, that's what I told you guys. You got to keep your goals in it. When I started, I can't even remember, was it 2011 at this point? So, we're 14, 15 years in, something like that, 14 years in. It was in its infancy. Really, podcasting didn't exist. That's why I called myself a radio show, even though I was a podcast, because nobody wanted to be involved with a podcast. But I was first there, and it was, I don't want to say it was easy to get listenership, but somebody wanted to go in and listen to motorsports or off-road. I mean, I was pretty much the only one there, so I was the only option. So I built my audience early. Now, I mean, everybody and their brother's got a podcast, so it's a little bit harder to build that audience, and advertisers and sponsors have a lot more opportunities, to jump in. And so I think it's tougher now to build that audience unless you're starting out, like the Kelsey brothers with a huge social influence and following, and then it's really easy to get traction because, you got that built-in audience. But, for you guys to do what you've done is pretty remarkable. I know with me, I'm just been really lucky, but the industry shifted, man. There is so much noise now. And when I first started, it was audio only because truthfully, YouTube was still in its infancy. and uploading video and things like that was so hard. I mean, one, the editing, two, the file sizes, it wasn't prevalent. And now, podcasts, really, you start looking at the numbers of YouTube, and I've seen some data, and I can't spit the numbers off the top of my head, but I think Apple and Spotify have now moved behind YouTube as the most go-to place for podcasts. So YouTube has now overtaken, I think, Spotify and and Apple, which Apple was a juggernaut for the longest time. They created the podcast. So now everything's moving towards this video component. I know just me, like, I'm a national syndication, obviously, also, so I'm thankful for that. But it's, digitally, the YouTube numbers really are strong compared to the Apple and the traditional podcast platforms. It's just people have migrated, and it's like I start thinking about it, I'm like, man, some of the people listen to my show now and weren't even born when I started. So we've had that entire, I mean, when I started doing this in my, I was right at 30. I was a young punk doing things different, and I had the old guard pissed off. Now I'm the old guard.
Right.
It's just one of those where I was the one shaking things up, and I was the disruptor in the industry. And I was the one that the magazines hated, and and everybody else hated because I was just doing things different. Now I'm the old guy, but I've tried to mentor the young kids because, obviously, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, that's who we're going to be paying attention to.
Yeah, I would agree. And I also found it very interesting when you were talking, you and I have talked a few times about YouTube and Spotify, Apple, and very interesting point to what you said is our YouTube is every bit as much as our Spotify now, and Apple has actually fallen back to third place. And, if you take the other streaming services that we're on, they generally, as all of them, and there's a lot of them because of the service we use, but they will pull as much as Apple does now, and Spotify is just kicking its butt. And then you turn around to YouTube, and I'm really grateful that you and I, like, when they first launched YouTube podcast, you were like, "Oh, are you doing that yet? I just started." And I'm like, "No, but I think I'm gonna." And now here we are, and it's like, oh well, that's our viewership is way up on YouTube over the last 6 months. Thanks again to you.
Well, I think one of the other things is like, and this is just in general for brands, anybody that's listening in, from what I understand, Google and Meta just kind of in the last week or two became friends again. But for the longest time, I mean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, none of that stuff is searchable on Google. And Google's obviously the biggest search engine in the world. YouTube is searchable via Google. So somebody punches in, random, whoever you had on your show this week, YouTube, that video is going to pull up. So people click on that. The Apple iTunes file or, the Apple podcast file, that's not going to pull up.
Right.
Spotify generally isn't going to pull up. Instagram posts, Meta posts, on Facebook, that stuff until recently really wasn't pulling up. So it's like, that's part of the reason why YouTube's so big, because you run a search for my name, the YouTube stuff's going to pull up first before anything else does, because YouTube is SEO friendly because Google owns YouTube. So it's, there's that. So I think there's multiple reasons that, and I think, talking to my daughter, I look how she consumes content at 16 and things like that. And YouTube's become so big. She doesn't listen to traditional podcasts. I mean, a podcast to her is a video on YouTube. Oh, this guy's interviewing somebody and talking to him. It's just, she doesn't get Apple for a podcast. It's just unheard of. So I think this new generation, it's all video based, and I think if you're not there, and I don't just mean podcasts, I just mean with any brand. I know there's so many brands right now that are still heavy on Instagram and Facebook, and TikTok's its own kind of niche. But I'm like, man, if you're not regularly posting to YouTube as a brand, you've got some severe issues that are going to start popping up.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And to that point, I'm in a beautiful brand new hotel room in where am I, Cole? Lima, Ohio. um, and I turn the TV on, and they have live TV, you know, and the next segment next to it, Netflix, and right next to that, YouTube. And
Yep.
those are your top three options um, on, you know, on hotel TVs now. So I think to that point, you're definitely hitting the nail on the head there, and people are consuming more and more. I think on YouTube over social media. Part of it, I think, and this is just my opinion. I know Cole will back me up because Cole is fighting with Meta right now.
Aren't we
um,
always all fighting with Meta?
Oh, thank you, Jim.
yeah, he's that's the reason, by the way, fans, that's the reason that you have to message us at FTR_podcast on Instagram, is because Cole is in a battle with Meta currently, and his account is not available at this moment. So, which, absolutely.
It's kind of nice, to be honest, but
But he still has YouTube. So there you go.
exactly. Fills those gaps. Yep.
Yeah. But what I was going to say was, I think another part of that is that as you scroll through Facebook or Instagram, there is so much garbage now,
God,
whether it's bot created, you know, just garbage or ads or whatever. Um, it's frustrating, actually.
yeah. Well, I agree with you. It's like this whole I've said this and I preached it. I refuse to adopt or adapt to this new social media, this clickbait 3-second video stuff. Like, and I know how the
Yeah.
algorithm works. I've studied it. I know the you talk about hooks and baiting and this and 3 seconds and blah blah blah. And then you want to make it where it repeats, and it's like, and it's all about length of view. It's all garbage. Like, it's become trash content. And
Yeah.
it's garbage. And then you mix in the AI stuff where 90% of the stuff popping out's fake. And it's just, I shake my head and I'm like, it's like I tell people, I go, yes, it's that way. But I said, if you still produce really high quality content, it will find an audience. Case in point, I just launched Livewire, my mock e-build, and we just did a gallery. It was a photo gallery of 10 photos.
Yeah.
And the engagement has been through the roof. Is it where it would have been 5, 6, 7 years ago? No. But it's still tracking really, really well because it's unique, it's interesting, and it's just traditional photos. And we do have some video stuff coming. It's not 3-second videos. It's a little, it's longer. It's, but it's kind of one of those. I tell people, I'm like, just do what you want to do. And it's going to come back around. I mean, this trash 3-second video content, it's at some point things are going to come full circle.
Yeah, I would agree, and the clickbait stuff drives me crazy. You can see it a mile away, and it's like, come on, you know. But jumping into that, because I'm really excited about that, and I'm glad to hear that you got such incredible response out of it. But your first partner build with Ford Motor Company, um, dude, you decide, or they decide for you, to build a Mach E rally car,
Well,
and it comes out. Holy cow!
yeah, it's funny because this is kind of pulling the veil on how sponsorships or partnerships work, things like that. My family's owned a Ford dealership for over 100 years. Doesn't mean I was sponsored by Ford. And my Bronco, that was something I bought, did a build on it, but I had I've been a spokesman for Ford. I've gone to the Raptor Rally and hosted those events. Talking with Ford, it's like everybody goes to Ford and they go, "Hey, I want a Raptor." Everybody wants a Raptor, right? You know what I mean? I was talking with Ford, and it was more of a, what do you guys need? And they go, Jim, we need some help on the electric side of things. Like, we've got this big, they're the second biggest electric manufacturer in the United States now behind Tesla.
Wow.
Ford, and so Ford's like, well, we need some help, and so we started talking, and then the Mach-E Rally came out, which, the Mach-E was cool. I mean, it's 480 horsepower, 700 foot-pounds of torque, big Brembo brakes. And then they make a variant of it you can actually off-road. And I'm like, okay, this is Jim right here. Like, I need one of these. I need this in my life. So I reach out to Ford, pitch this project, and they're like, yeah, this seems to work. And then, truthfully, they looked at me and they're like, well, you're kind of the anti-EV guy. And not like I've ever been public, like I hate EVs. It's just like, you think of me and it's supercharged Kawasaki's, Bronco Raptors, 800 horsepower trophy trucks. Jim's not the guy that drives around an electric vehicle. I just not. And they're like, this is a perfect fit. If Jim can make an EV kind of cool, then maybe other people will see it in a different light. And so that was kind of it. Ford, needed to fill a niche, and it's actually really been a really fun project. I learned a lot about electric vehicles. I will literally fall on the sword and say this is one of the most fun cars I have ever driven. That torque hit, when you hit the gas on a 500-ish horsepower, 700 foot-pounds of torque car, and it's all-wheel drive and it hooks up, it literally feels like you're launching on Space Mountain at Disneyland or something. I mean, it's just boom, instant. And I think it's 0 to 60 in like 3 point something seconds. Like, it is fast. So it's a hell of a fun car to drive. But yeah, it's been a fun project. Was just at Electrify Expo in Los Angeles. We launched it there. Had 30 members of the media show up, and a few hundred of Ford's like EV fan club showed up, and just for the launch, it was on display. And I think Electrify Expo had maybe 40,000 people over the course of the weekend show up and see the car, and a bunch of other stuff. But learned a lot. I didn't realize that building an EV would mean I would get DMs and just hateful messages. All of a sudden, I guess I became a hippie overnight. You know what I mean? I don't know, but it was like somebody warned me. They're like, you're going to get some hate, dude. And I'm like, I can deal with it. I can deal with it. I think it's funny because just small-minded people, but I'm like, I just like rad stuff. I don't care if it's 2-stroke, 4-stroke, electric, V8, V6, turbocharged, supercharged, NA, electric. If it's rad, I want to drive it. Like, I'm just that guy. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I just like cool stuff, and I didn't realize there was all this hate, and it's, I just like, I part of me laughs. I'm just reading these comments. And I'm like, you know what? If I could take you for a ride in this car, you would change your tune.
Yeah. And we talked about, way back, we actually talked about electric trucks at the time, because I had done a SEMA with Kicker, and they had electric, what's that thing called? Hummer?
Yeah, the Hummer.
Yeah. And, compared to the Mach-E, the Hummer is just garbage. I mean, it's, I talked to an engineer and I said, okay, well, it's got all this great stuff you're talking about. So towing capacity is all of 3,500 pounds. And I'm like, so how far can you go towing max weight at like 75 miles an hour interstate speed? And he said, about 70 miles. I'm like, so you couldn't hook a 3,000 pound boat behind this and tow it from Stillwater to Oklahoma City without stopping to recharge it? Well, that's not the point. I'm like, that is the point. But that being said, I have a friend who has Tesla and Model S, I believe it is, in plaid mode. I got to drive that, and I'm very, very impressed. So, there's definitely a niche for it for sure. And you're seeing a lot of, even like they're racing electric powered foil boats now.
Yeah.
In a world Cup type venue.
Yeah. My friends Anna Glennon and Sarah Price are racing in it. It's
Sarah
pretty.
Price, yeah.
Yeah, it's in EVs, and honestly, the manufacturers will tell you this too. It's not for everyone. Well, guys that live like me in Parker, and I've also got an ICE. They call them ICE, internal combustion engine second vehicle. And for me driving around Parker, making trips to Havasu, things like that, I never have to gas up. It's great. Just plug it in
Yeah.
the evening, and I can make day trips to Havasu and back and drive around for a week and never have to charge the battery and then plug it in once a week. It's great. Somebody lived in SoCal where you're commuting back and forth to work and things like that. It's perfect. Plug it in every night. It's great. Do I want to take a cross country road trip where I actually have a time frame I need to be somewhere in an electric vehicle? No, I mean, it would be, if I did it, it would be a fun adventure type thing. Hey, let's take this electric cross country. We know it's going to take a while, but let's do it because it's going to be fun and it's all about the adventure. But, as long as, for me, as long as I have a second vehicle, I could see one of my vehicles being electric vehicles. There is a lot of advantages. And let me tell you, not having to fill up ever, like, it's kind of fun. My pocketbook definitely likes it.
No doubt. So, like, when's your first off-road excursion?
I don't know.
With the Mach E.
It's got a few appearances it's got to do, and then I think we're going to do some big filming in August. I don't know when this is specifically dropping, but in August we're going to do some big filming. A lot of people like, oh, he just built a trailer queen. I'm like, I don't build a car that's a Mach-E rally and make it a trailer queen at all, ever. So I'm going to go and we're going to jump it. We're going to drift it. We're going to show the capabilities. I'm going to go out and do some overlanding, some camping with it. We're going to have some fun with this car. I mean, I don't build anything to be a trailer queen ever. I mean, I think the minute I got my Bronco Raptor, I had it at Moab, doing Hell's Revenge. So people are like, oh, what are you doing with an $80,000 Bronco? I don't care. Like, it's meant to go off road. Why not?
Yeah.
So, no, we're definitely going to have some fun with it. Funny thing about the Mach-E is if you actually go in the Mach-E rally, go pull up on YouTube. Ford's raced them previously at some rallycross events and won. Completely stock, out of the box. Minus Ford does have, for people that want to race it, an optional. It's basically a skid plate. They call it a battery protector. But it's a thicker aluminum skid plate that goes underneath the car, protects the battery. But aside from that, you could technically race it without it, but Ford would tell you, please put on one of those skid plates that go through Ford accessories. Slap one of those on, and as it sits, you can go and race rallycross with it and win races. So it's pretty cool tech. It's not, Ford meant for this car to actually be used in the dirt, so.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah. I haven't done my research on it. So I'm, what I've talked to you about, of course. And then, you kind of gave me an overview of what the build was going to be, but then to see it, and even, I'm like, whoa, that came out great. And it has kicker subs in the back.
Yeah, the downfiring ones. And I think it's funny because Roger and Jeremy at Kicker, I think, they've been really good to pretty much whatever I asked for, I end up getting. And I think part of them were like downfiring subs I was like, yep. Then when you see how I used them, I think, with it slid perfectly under that storage thing. And it was like, it was great, and Ford actually with this car, I was able to find a little trick. I didn't even really have to wire them because Ford had a sub in the trunk and the side, and I just used the factory wiring. It was actually a very easy install. So it's one of those I probably ought to go onto YouTube and actually show how I did the install, because it's probably help a lot of other Mach-E owners. But
yeah, and I'm sure knowing Kicker, it's probably made a difference in your subwoofer levels.
Oh yeah, it definitely did. I think Ford's sub was a 6x9. So yeah, it's definitely made a big difference.
So, man, you've been busy like crazy though, because you're recording podcasts again, video side. You're doing videos. You built the Mach-E rally, and people can find the initial photo gallery and stuff for that at where again?
Just on my Instagram or Facebook, press releases and all the bigger galleries up at my website, jimbeaver15.com. By the time this drops, we'll have some video stuff out too. So that'll all be on social, YouTube, things like that. So yeah. But
yeah,
It's been busy between that and Misadventure Life and the activation trailer that Lauren donated some fingertips to. We're taking that around to a lot of events. We came off a bender of like 3 or 4 events in like 5 weeks, and now we got a little break over the summer because it's hot. And then we're going to come back and we got some stuff this fall. I know it'll be a Jet Ski World Finals for a good week with it. I know we've got a Ford event. We're Raptor Rally. We're going to have it at. So we've got a lot of stuff popping up with that, and that's been fun. It's been a fun project with my daughter also. So she's helping me run the trailer and learn a lot about kind of running a business and things like that. But yeah, it's been fun. I've hopefully obviously everybody on the internet has seen the teasers from Kawasaki that they've got something coming. Hopefully we are going to be doing a build on one of those. Electra may get a newer sister.
Awesome.
So we'll see. Still working through that. I can't really tell much about that other than what's public, but it should be that should be fun. So we got a lot of stuff going on, man. And I'm taking a content trip to Hawaii in July, and that's always fun. So
awesome.
Nice.
Well, and the Misadventure Life gear is it's great. I mean, I don't know, I have 2 or 3 shirts. I don't wear a ball cap very often, so at home the Misadventure Life ball cap actually sits on the right side of my desk, so it's in pretty much every frame of the podcast. Just because we're a lot of the reason that we're here or we're still here is because of you. So whatever we can do to help you.
I think what you just told me was you got shirts and hats, and I need to send some to Cole so he's not left out.
Okay. I should be on the team. All right.
I know. And Cole does wear ball caps, so 100%.
And the bolt tee's pretty cool. I don't know, You'll
have to text me after this one, Cole. We'll get you a little package sent.
Perfect.
Out.
Love it.
Thank you. By the way, folks, what do you call it? Scarlet Witch, right? That's what you're
that was the ridge that we did for
the Kawasaki Ridge. Yeah. So that Scarlet Witch shirt, Misadventure shirt.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Is sick. I don't know that I've really seen it until your most recent videos. And I was like, wow, that's cool. So next time you're set up, I got to make a trip to wherever you are and reload some. Get me some new Misadventure Life stuff.
We can definitely do that. It's even got the bomber and the kicker logos on there, so you're safe to wear it.
Yeah, right. Well, I could wear that on the podcast.
Yeah, that was and honestly, you look at a lot of my stuff, and this goes back. I've been kind of vocal about, not vocal, but Ken Block was a really close friend of mine.
Yeah.
And you say, how, I've helped you guys out. Well, Ken helped me out in the same way, when I was coming up. And it's one of those where, he's one of those, he's not going to give you a staircase to the top, but he'll give you a hand up, and that's, and lots of advice and things like that. But it's like, you look at what he did and the way he marketed, and he was a mastermind. And so you look at, starting with Electra, Scarlet Witch, now the Livewire, they've got these insane liveries that everybody catches. They've got crazy names. They've got insane liveries, but then we backed it up. Like my team shirt last year, you talked about the Scarlet Witch shirt. Well, my one last year, my shirt was based on Electra, so it had all the green and the purple and that design. This year it was next year will probably be like the blue and the lightning bolts and stuff from Livewire. So every year we refresh my team shirts with all the sponsor logos for the year, and so next year I'm probably, depending on what happens with Kawasaki and this Electra's new sister, it'll probably have a Livewire livery. So it's just been fun. You look at how Ken did things, and his shirts were always kind of that way. And I've kind of done that. And honestly, it makes a lot of sense. Vaughn Gittin Jr. does stuff very much similar. Vaughn's been really good with it. And you just look at how some of these guys market, and it's branding, and it's getting awareness and people attached to things, names and stuff like that, and it's just, it creates its own ecosystem.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, um, I didn't know Ken. Never got the opportunity to meet him, but man, there was no mistaking the brand, right?
Yeah.
And it was brilliant. I mean, I'm sure Cole owns some Ken Block stuff.
Oh man, yeah, I do. Just real quick, I mean, I got still Subaru USA Rally DC shoes and a lot of photos of me in KB 43 gear on top of Saddleback Mountain. So, oh
Yeah.
yeah, forever merch.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
have you had a chance to go to the Peterson Museum?
Not yet. It's just right outside the bubble, so I'll make the
Yeah, and I
trip.
can't remember what is it through October, I think, right? Yeah, I
I
think it's through October they've got it.
sounds right. Yep.
It's absolutely worth going to. I went the night they opened it. It's actually pretty remarkable to see everything there in one spot. So
Wow.
I would say anybody that's in the area needs to definitely go by Peterson. If you can't spend a whole day, at least just go to the Ken Block area of the museum, and it's pretty cool.
Do you know, do they have any plans? Are they going to turn it into any kind of mobile? Are they going to find a way to continue it on?
I don't know. I'm assuming, I mean, Ken's still got his shop, his kids, have vehicles there. They've still got some staff up there in Utah, things like that. I mean, I could see this exhibit. I mean, it's doing really well from what I understand at Peterson. It's dry. I could see them extending it there at the Peterson. But I could also see it, yeah, becoming, where they move it to another place or something. I mean, I could see, something like that being in Miami very easily, for a while, and then,
For
um,
sure.
you know, moving a bit. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I really I can't speak to it because I don't know. I know the family's still well, and I know it's doing good, but I really don't know what the plans are for it. It would suck to see all those cars just, stuffed into the private family museum there in Salt Lake. And I don't think the family wants that either. They want
Right.
his legacy to live on. So having a bunch of his rad stuff just stuffed away at their house and, in their garages doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right. Yeah. And that would be uh, really honorable and respectful way to carry it on is just to continue to move it around and keep all that stuff public, um, for sure. So yeah, the I've never thought about that with the apparel stuff, but that's definitely, I mean, I feel like you're on the cusp of this like epic brand with Misadventure Life.
It's fun, and the thing is I wanted it to be authentic to me, and I travel, and I like I said, the whole like started with a beer, and I used misadventure over the past 5-6 years a lot. I was like, my life's a misadventure. So when I got the beer, we named it that, and the reasoning was I've made every wrong turn possible, still going in the right direction, and it's
Right.
it's one of those where it's kind of tongue in cheek funny, but it really is. And there's a lot of people. I mean, you're a misadventurer, it's like you travel a lot, you've made some wrong turns, but we have a hell of a good time doing it. And, and it's a little everything. It's not an off-road brand. It's not a surf brand. It's not a skate brand. It's whatever brand you want it to be. It's just people who enjoy life. And,
Right.
and that's kind of me, and it's like, it's been a lot of fun. I think, it's when people understand the brand, it's good. We've got two sponsored athletes right now, and both of them are very much that way. Mia, and then, obviously everybody here knows Mia Chapman, and then Kyla DeRozier's, who, God, that girl, she's amazing. I mean, pro jet ski rider, fitness. She's got her own fitness company. She's an entrepreneur, snowboarder, rides Sur-Ron, skateboards, like you name it. That girl's all over the place.
Moto.
Like
Moto,
crazy.
yep.
Rides moto, and I'm like, all right, this girl's like a tailor-made fit. And we didn't even really know each other beforehand. I just been following her for years, and I reached out to her. Like it was one of those that, her and I kind of DM back and forth on some stuff. And I just said, hey, by the way, like, you interested? And she goes, yeah. It was one of those that I tell people, I'm like, you never know who's watching, but I go, random stuff does happen. Just do things the right way. And at some point, somebody will take notice. You don't always have to throw yourself at people. And
Yeah.
I tell athletes that all the time. I'm like, that sometimes there's too much of a hard sell by athletes. Brands are paying attention. They are. You
Yep.
know, there's a time when you need to kind of prod them along a little bit, but you know, it's me and Kicker, for instance, Lauren. There was never a hard sell on my part with Kicker. Uh,
No.
it was just I was doing things, and slowly things started working together. And you know, it's like, hey, let's get a little involved here, and then the next thing, a little more involved. And but it was never me going and pitching myself to Roger and Jeremy. It was just it organically just happened because it was a right fit at the right time.
Yeah, and I think you know, me going, you guys would be nuts if you don't help him out.
Yeah.
Um, I may have been putting the harder sell than you, um, but that being said, knowing you, I knew, and this goes right back to what you were just saying. I knew the value in you and your program. And it wasn't because you told me the value in you and your program. It's because I saw it, right?
Yeah.
And I've been seeing it. So that goes exactly 1,000% back to what you just said. And that's how we managed to add assault to our program. Um, you know, is just, I mean, I have friends over there, but then it's like, hey, let's sit down and talk. We like what you guys are doing, and it wasn't, hey, you know, let's
And
we
sometimes
need
it's
to
harder
hustle
when you have
this.
friends at brands. Sometimes it's
Yes,
harder because you've got those personal relationships and you don't want to be that guy. Hey, bro, hook me up with some money or hook me up.
right,
You don't want to be that guy.
yeah. That's Cole and I went through some pretty serious phone conferences getting things together for them. Um, but it's turned out to be a great fit for all of us. And you know, it's just like you and Kicker it's, you know, they really push that living loud and you're the misadventure life king, right? So it's that great juggling act of balance and chaos.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I wanted to get back to the Misadventure Life apparel stuff and your ambassadors. And like you said, everybody knows Mia, and at least all of our audience does, and we love Mia, and she's got so much talent. And then I was fortunate enough to meet Ky- Kayla.
Kyla. Yeah. Kyla.
Kyla. Yeah, I know it's spelled. I'm like, it's got to be Kyla at Desert Storm.
Yeah.
And I was, you know, one, she's really cool, right? But then the other thing was I was with the general with Butts and his family and some of their friends, and one of their friends' daughters wants to become a jet ski racer. And she's, I think, about 10 or 11. And Kyla, you know, mentioned something, Dave mentioned something to her. And man, she just, like, this little girl left with a plan on how to become a jet ski racer. Because she took the time, she was genuine. She's a great ambassador for your brand, and for all the brands she supports, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's funny. Actually, have you, I just dropped it yesterday, so you guys probably haven't seen it. You'll have to go to my YouTube channel, but Run What You Brung, the big jet ski event in Parker every year. Um, Mia was out, Kyla was out. I was a big part of this adventure was, but Kyla took Mia out and taught her how to ride a stand-up jet ski. And
Yes.
watch the whole video because it's actually quite funny. But Mia was very apprehensive, but at the end of it, she's like fell in love. She's like, I got to buy a jet ski now.
Yeah, it's funny because I did watch that actually last night in the hotel, because I had to be at Vegas airport at 3 o'clock this morning, so I stayed in Vegas last night, and so I watched that video, and I think I watched it twice actually because I enjoyed it. It was cool. But you could tell she was apprehensive at first. But what got me was, you know, last year I learned to ride a stand up. Butts taught me how to ride a stand up. And first time ever, I've ridden sit downs and done about, you know, probably 70% of the stuff you can do on water, but I'd never ridden a stand up. And on these skis, I just thought it was funny because these girls get on them and they don't sink.
No, they stand right up. And I'm like,
Yeah.
heck.
I'm like, that's cheating. Like,
It is like, it was funny the first time I taught my daughter. She's about the same size as me and Kyla.
yeah,
And first time I taught her, I go, "Oh, you're gonna fall. It's gonna be tough. You know, it's gonna sink. You gotta, you know, give it a little gas." And literally, we're sitting on the beach, and she just literally like hits the gas a little bit, stands up, and she looks back. She goes, "Dad, I thought you said this is hard." I'm like, "I hate
Wow.
you. I hate you. Try and turn now."
Yeah.
You know, going in straight lines easy. Try and turn now. But it was funny. Girls, I will say they have a distinct advantage when it comes to stand-up jet skis.
Well, I know when I went out and ran Dave's that very first time, holy cow, I don't know how long it felt like 2 hours. I'm sure it was 20 minutes, 10 minutes, but I was gassed. I was wiped out. I'm like, holy cow, you know. Um, and I'm sure when you get to your level, it's of rider, there's not it's more natural, so it's not as exhausting to begin with, but it's still
It's
like it's
I,
brutal to ride stand-ups.
Yeah, I'm not even that good yet, and that's what's funny. I'm not really that good yet. I've just been really working. I'm the guy that hit 40, and I was like, all right, I'm going to teach myself how to re-ride stand-up jet skis. Kind of done it since I was like 13, 14 years old, and I never was really good at it. I'm going to teach myself to snowboard. I went through like my midlife crisis of 40, but it was like I'm going to teach myself to do all these things. It's a challenge now. You know, but like the stand-up jet ski, I'm still not good at it, but the only other time that something clicked like that, I was horrible. I mean, horrible on it. There was one day I was out there, I was struggling, and I went around a corner and it was like, it just clicked. I was like, oh, that's how you do this. And then from then on, I learned how to corner. It was just overnight like that. The only other time I had a click like that in my life was literally in high school in Spanish class. I was struggle busing through Spanish and all the you know, all the crap. And it was like there was one day in Spanish class where I went from not understanding anything and the light bulb went off and I immediately just became pretty fluent in Spanish. And it was just that light bulb moment. And there was only 2 times in my life I've ever had it where I went from completely horrible at something to pretty good at something. And it was Spanish and jet skis.
That's awesome. And if you haven't seen the video yet, folks, by the time this drops, which should drop next week, you got to go see it. It's on all of Jim's social media. The links are there. And it's super entertaining, super energetic. And check out Livewire launch too, because the video will be out for that by then. But yeah, man, it's like you have been busy.
Yeah. It's been fun. And I think in this industry, when you I guess I say we have no jobs. When you don't have a job, to keep not having a job, you got to work about 3 times as hard as the people who just have the 9 to 5. And that's where I'm at. Like I don't necessarily have a job, so I have to work about 3 times. If I'm sitting at home, I'm not making money.
Right.
You know, it's one of those because you know as well as I do, Lauren, there's no constant paycheck.
Yeah, no.
You know, so it's one of those where it's like I said, if I ever wanted to relax, I just take a real job.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that way too. It's like you know, it's it can be a challenge at times.
Yes.
And you know, I find myself when I have time at home, um I'm like, okay, what's the next social media hook? What can I look back on old videos? How can I take a new approach to this video? You know, for a clip for YouTube now, or, you know, and just stuff like that, even, and getting stuff up on YouTube and still trying to keep social media up. And I, I think I work harder at that. Um, and it's mentally ball busting.
Yeah. Well, I know like I was consulting for a couple brands last year and stepped away from that at the beginning of this year for multiple reasons. There's multiple reasons why, but I know like the whole month of January was really hard on me mentally because I was so used to 40, 50, 60 new emails a day and things like that. So now I'm only getting 10 a day. And I was like in the evenings, like I'm used to being on my laptop till midnight. You know what I mean? Answering
Right.
emails, working on projects, things like that. And it was just weird to me to go home and be like, oh, I can watch a TV show. What is this? Oh, here's 5 years worth of television I need to catch up on. Like it was, oh, there's a basketball or a hockey game on. I can watch this. Like it was weird. Like I had to reboot my brain. You know what I mean? Because I didn't know what it was like to actually relax. And and the good news is like I think mentally it's healthy to actually have some shut off time. And like I've learned a lot just about myself. And I'm not one of those guys that preaches mental health and things like that. But it's like, man, there's times when life, where whoever you are, you should draw a line. You know what I mean? If you've got a 9 to 5 and you're supposed to be answering emails at 11 o'clock at night, don't. They'll be there tomorrow morning at 8 when you get in the office. It's one of those. I've had to like reboot my brain.
Yeah, it's I feel you there. And for me, I get these breaks and it's like I get like nervous, what's, oh my goodness, why am I just sitting in my office all day? I don't have time for this. Oh yeah, I guess I actually do, or I'm sitting watching the last 2 seasons of Gold Rush, which I haven't watched in years. But growing up north, like I grew up in goldfields. So, all kinds of Arctic goldfields. So it's like all of a sudden I'm like, oh, wow, this is entertaining. Yeah. I'm not sitting in my office till 10 o'clock at night or whatever. I'm like, I'm going to sit my butt on the couch and watch a couple of episodes of Gold Rush.
It's awesome when we get to that point.
Yeah. Yeah. But, still after about a week, if I'm home more than a week, I'm just like,
I'm stir crazy too.
Yeah. I got to do something.
Yeah, I've only been on a couple flights this year and it's been very, very weird. And then part of me goes, hey, my anxiety, I'm going to lose my Delta points. I got to get on some flights the rest of this year. I'm status with Delta. I don't want to lose that. I worked my butt off to get that.
Yeah. Yeah. Those, man, that's a whole nother deal flying. Although you're not missing anything, I can tell you. I've flown what feels like enough for all three of us in the last, well, how many months since the 1st of November, Cole?
6,
How many months has it been?
8,
Yeah.
Right.
8.
8.
Yep.
Yeah, 8. So I think I figured out this morning because there's not a lot to do in Vegas airport at 3:30 in the morning.
The old slot machines with the cigarette the glass around them.
Yeah, I kind of just like I go find, and my bagel place wasn't even open.
Oh,
so
that one's rough when you've got your spot.
yeah, they opened 10 minutes before my flight started boarding. So I have my bagel on the flight, but still, I think I've flown out of Vegas like 18 times since 1st of November.
Wow.
And it's, and I still don't have status with anybody.
God, that's yeah. You know what I miss about flying in 2020 during COVID? Those are the best flights. Empty airport, empty plane. Everybody's like, I can't believe you're flying. And I'm like, there's nobody here. I'm safer than anybody on the planet. You can eat off the bathroom floor. The planes are spotless. And like, I remember there was one flight, we're on this massive plane. And we get in, and there was like 8 of us on the flight, and we're all spread around the entire cabin. And the flight attendant walks up, and she looks at everybody, and she goes, "First class is empty. There's 8 of you. I'm not serving you back there. You can all pick a seat in first class, and you just got upgrades." She goes, "I don't want to have to walk around the plane for 8 people." And so there was literally there was 8 of us that all got our own row in first class at our own spot, and we all got first class upgrades. And there's literally, I'm like, I don't know how they were flying planes in COVID. There was 8 of us on a jumbo jet, and somehow the flight still took off. And I'm like, how they had to lose their ass on that.
Yeah, holy cow,
That's amazing.
But it was great. We all got cocktails and food and beer and whatever we wanted for a 4-hour flight. You know what I mean? And it was awesome. And then literally the flight attendant just goes, "I'm just going to go up here and sit. Just yell at me if you guys need anything."
That's great.
One of those where we're just like, whatever you guys want, just yell at me, because I'm going to sit here and watch a movie on my iPad.
That's
I
awesome.
was like, I miss those flights.
Yeah. Yeah, I miss having the room that we used to have for sure. It's like I didn't fly a lot in 2020, but I flew a fair amount in 2021.
Yeah.
And it was very similar. So I didn't get near the cool experience like that, but man, that's one for the books for sure. But you brought up a good point. You said the word beer. And I know Cole is dying to hear when your next collaboration is going to be available with someone.
That I do not know yet. Obviously, my beer, I love the guys at Belching Beaver, and beer industry's in a very, very weird spot right now. Just they are craft beer, and you've got seltzers, and you've got all these prepackaged drinks, and it's an industry that I know enough about to kind of be dangerous, but I don't. Yeah, it's there's another level to beer marketing, distributorship, everything else. So yeah, with the downturn, they've had to cut a lot of their lines. Unfortunately, one of mine was one of them. It wasn't because it didn't sell. It was just literally, I think, a good chunk of lines, and every every brewery, every major beer company throughout the country is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So not saying that one won't come back, but yeah, I mean, I'm definitely I've got some opportunities with a few other breweries to do something. I don't know when that's going to be. We're working on some stuff. We'll see. I guess watch this space. I guess the good news is I own the name MAddOG'S for beer, so it's we can bring one out again, so we'll see.
Love to hear
Awesome.
it. Have the memories of the last flavor. So
yeah, I think I've got like 6 or 12 cans. Some of them are expired at this point, but I've still got a few I'm holding on to.
That's cool.
They're in the fridge, so we'll see.
Yeah, I think Cole and his race team was it definitely sold. I know it sold in Orange County and San Diego, because Cole and his race team would put the herd on it at the brewery they used to go to. Where was that? San Diego?
Yeah, I in Orange County had to go to San Diego to get it, but it was well worth it, Or visiting some relatives, always come back with, quite a few Sixers or whatnot. So always had to make a stop in Vista.
Yeah, it was that restaurant in Vista's pretty solid too.
It is cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty good rrestaurant anyways. So
yeah, good wings.
That's awesome. So, man, with this misadventure life, it's obviously it's a brand. It's more than an apparel company. It's a lifestyle company.
yes,
And so, like, what's next with Misadventure Life? I mean, you've got, like you said, you've got your fingers in so much stuff, and you don't got to tell us anything you can't or shouldn't.
No, I mean with Misadventure, I think the biggest thing is the way we set it up, just the naming, everything. It's been set up to scale. A lot of people start something and they name it something such and such off road, and they're trying to start an apparel company. You're pretty capped. What I mean? There's not a lot you can do with it. You know what I mean? So we kind of set this up to be able to scale it. Obviously we've got some more events. I mean, it's still very much in its infancy. It's doing pretty well. We do really well at events. Online sales are, here and there. We go through hot spots, cold spots. Online with e-commerce is just different. It's how much money do you want to spend on Facebook ads and SEO and a bunch of other stuff. But we've got some brick and mortar that's interested in starting to carry it. Obviously, if anybody's listening to this and you think you are a good fit for the brand, I'm always open to proposals. So definitely, but it's one of those, got to be a good brand fit. We got a really good core of people right now, and it's finding people
Yeah.
that fit the mold. I'm not necessarily looking to sponsor a bunch of people, but all right, one came along, we might be interested. But yeah, I mean, we're having fun with it. We're scaling it, or working on scaling it. Obviously, brick and mortar, getting more stores carrying it. And I think it's just brand recognition, name recognition. We're still new, so obviously my following's aware of it, but it's branching out, and continuing to grow in other avenues. And I mean, you look at like a Fast House, you know what I mean? And they kind of, are all over moto, surf, they've got a little everything. And, Fast House took a while to scale, it things do. And so we're working at it. I'm having fun with it. Like I said, it's not making a ton of money, but it's not costing me any money. So that's always a good thing. And every dime that we make, we're putting back into it, supporting athletes, getting more merch, things like that. So it's just, we're like I said, we're just growing it. But if you've got an event you'd like to see us at, let us know. Maybe we'll try and bring the trailer out. And if you've got a good pitch for me, not hard to find on social media or the web. So shoot your pitch and shoot your shot. Maybe you can join me and Kyla and myself.
Yeah, there you go. That's awesome. Man, so what all do you have going now? Like you're back to basically a weekly podcast?
Yeah. So we're still kind of doing things in batches just because I am so busy. But we are so my podcast is still there. We're doing a lot of it on YouTube. Honestly, the RSS feed, I'm not updating as much because the numbers it went from huge mega numbers to just kind of weird, and all the stuff shifted to YouTube. So we're still doing that, but I'm in national syndication again. So putting out a show, it's 200 AM FM networks, every Sunday. It's an hour-long show. I didn't want to go back to 2 hours. We dropped out of national syndication 2 years ago. It was on purpose. Met with all the partners. Everybody goes, yeah. And, I had this opportunity this year to network wanted us back. And I didn't want to commit to a 2-hour show. I committed to a 1-hour show, and it was a good time slots, 10 a.m. on Saturdays, 10 a.m.
Awesome.
Pacific, 1 East, or excuse me, on Sundays. So I'm like, man, it is perfect Sunday time slot on a national network. You can't get a better time slots. It's 1 hour a week. And all my partners, I brought it up to them and I said, hey, you guys, we've got this opportunity. And it was actually a really, really good opportunity. And they're like, heck yeah, let's go back into national syndication. So, it's one of those, it's nice to be able to say you're on 200 AM FM networks. And it's an interesting listenership you get there because it's on a major sports network. But, it's just, there's a lot of, people are in the car for 30 minutes and they've got on the sports network. They hear you for a little bit, and they go to the store or whatever. It's a different type of audience than a podcast. So it's a little bit different show we do there. It's also broken up into, 10, 12 and 14-minute segments, with some smaller segments thrown in. So it's different than a podcast where you just talk for an hour straight and call it quits.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of it's the same show, but it's a little bit different than what we're doing online. So, but yeah, it's, I think the links are on my website to where it airs, but, yeah, if it's on air in your area, I know we were on Sirius XM and, US American Forces Network previously. We probably at some point will be back on both of those. It's just, the way those work, especially the military network, it takes a while. It's, not a flip of the switch. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's lots that go on behind the scenes. So, working on getting back there. I'm sure it'll happen, but yeah, it's nice to be able to, say I've got a national show. And truthfully, for, if you watch NASCAR or IndyCar, there's plenty of stuff on national radio, that cover that stuff. But the stuff I cover, it's kind of fun to be able to say we're talking dirt bikes and off-road and drifting and rally, and I do talk a little Formula One, and I talk some action sports, and I'm all over the place. But it's a lot of obscure stuff, maybe that doesn't get national attention all the time. So even throw a little pro wrestling in there once in a while. You never know.
Awesome. I love it. That's and is it like all these shows? Is it through one network or?
The Jim Beaver show. Yeah, Sports Byline is it's the same network that syndicates Speed Freaks. So I'm sure
Okay.
everybody's yeah, I'm on all the same networks Speed Freaks are. They come on at I think 8 Pacific in the evening. I come on that same network at 10 a.m. In the morning. So same network
Nice.
Freaks are on nationally.
Very cool.
So they're
Very
more
cool.
your traditional motorsports in the evening. I'm more your obscure stuff in the morning.
Right. That's more misadventures.
Yeah. I say obscure, but it's, nothing we talk about's obscure. That's what's funny about it at this point, but when I started out, it was kind of obscure.
Yeah. Well, and to be honest, when you started out, not hardly anybody was doing it,
Yeah.
And
That was it. There wasn't a lot.
now you see all these racers are doing vlogs and seems like everybody and their brother has some kind of podcast now. um and I mean, more power to them. I think it's good for the industry. The more we get out, the more information and attraction we get out in the industry, the more traction guys like you and I and Cole have to continue doing what we're doing.
Yeah. Well, and you're exactly how I am. I feel like any media attention our industry gets is good media. Well, I don't want to say good media attention, but it's good
Right.
for the industry. The more shows we have, the more people covering it. It's all good. It lends itself to a healthy industry. I know there's people in the past been like, "Oh, aren't you worried about that show taking your sponsors?" I'm like, I'm pretty secure in myself at this point. I don't really think anybody's going to jump ship. I mean, I've been with General Tire for 14 years. I mean,
Right.
high five if somebody else can poach them away from me, but I'm not real worried about it. To me, it's one of those where it's just, I don't know. To me, there's not a war. Speed Freaks and I are probably two of the larger shows in the country. And Kenny and Crash and I text all the time. We're both sponsored by General Tire. We're shooting a project in Phoenix together in August. I've been on their show. They've been on my show. I mean, it's a very symbiotic, healthy relationship. We promote each other. We're always constantly high-fiving each other. And I'm like, it doesn't have to be a competition. Let's
No.
all grow each other together. I help them
Yeah.
grow their platform. They help me grow mine. I help you grow yours. You help me grow mine. It's one of those where to me, it's one of those where there's enough to go around. I don't know that there needs to be this battle or, you've got to choose sides. And I think, and maybe that's the motorsports where everybody's got to have a favorite, and I'm going for this guy. I don't like your guy, but I'm like, the media side of that doesn't have to be that way at all. We can all work together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure there's some people out there, or some media out there that is that way. We're certainly not. And it's like we want to promote everybody else because ultimately, like you, we want to be the good guys, right? So it's like we may not have these huge Dale Jr. numbers or Jim Beaver numbers, but I have yet, in I don't know how many guests we've had, I've yet to have a guest go, "Well, that sucked," or "Man, I didn't have any fun at all." It's like, and that's our goal. We're always saying we take having fun seriously.
Yeah. Yeah. It's professional fun havers, taking one from Vaughn and Lauren.
There you go.
Yeah.
It is a great name they've got. I give them a high five on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's great. I know Hinch, James Hinchcliffe, the IndyCar driver who's retired now. He's now an on-air talent. But when he When he retired, he started a little clothing company, and he called it Fun Employed instead of Unemployed. It was Fun Employed. He lost his ride in IndyCar, and he goes, I guess I'm Fun Employed now. And and I've got one of his hoodies and stuff like that. He started a small apparel company, and it's a lot of fun. I'm like, yep, fun haver, Fun Employed. I'm like, some good stuff. So like, yep, high five, Hinch.
That's awesome. You know, that's it. That's it for us. Is like we want to have fun. I want all of our guests to have a good time, and I know there's a lot bigger. I'll take. I think most currently, I think we're in automotive on iTunes and Apple Podcasts. We're in the top 130, and I'll take that. Because there's got to be 5,000 out there. So,
oh, and I think, and like I told you guys when you started your show, and I'm super proud of you guys, but it was like,
thank you.
If you're doing this for anything other than just having a good time, you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're having a good time, at some point the sponsors will come, the numbers will come. Just enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. You know what I mean? And I tell anybody in this industry, if you're in this industry and you're not having a good time, I mean, you're in the wrong damn industry. I mean, if you don't think off-road and dirt bikes and drifting and motorcycle racing and if you're not having a good time in this industry, I don't know what to tell you, because you are just not a fun person.
I love it. Yes. I think that's probably a great spot to wrap. If you're not having fun in this industry, I love it.
If you're just not having fun in this industry, you're not a fun person.
You're just not a fun person. So
there's so much truth in that. And I see people that are all angry and anxious and beating their head against the wall. I'm like, bro, it's not that serious. Have fun. Like,
yeah.
Look where you're at. It's like Desert Storm. People all stress. What you're at Desert Storm. There's $1 million boats. There's girls that have $1 million in plastic surgery. Like everybody's drinking. Like it's bikinis. It's a good time. There's helicopters. They're like, how are you not having fun?
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Storm, did you get your limited edition Storm beer?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I got the Storm beer. Good. I actually got my plaque in the mail here a couple weeks ago too, that they sent me for being a sponsor. So
awesome. Yeah, that was a good time. On that note, right before we wrap up, I want to give a shout out to your daughter, Maddie, because Maddie, right? Addie. Golly. Kelsey can't fix that one. Addie. I would have said it right had she been standing in front of me, but she worked her butt off over there. And it's super rad to see her taking interest in being involved in your program and pushing Misadventure Life apparel and just being involved in the whole program. I think that's rad, dude.
Yeah, she really enjoys it. I mean, we get to spend time together, so that's great. But she loves it. She loves running the cash register, ringing stuff up, and I make her shoot a lot of the product photos for the website, some of that type of stuff. So yeah, she enjoys it. She likes hanging out too, and she loves Mia. She loves Kyla. She loves, I got my cousin and my buddy Bud. They come and help out here and there too, and do some heavy lifting. And she just likes it, And honestly, she gets to sit in a trailer, and it's got some air conditioning, and she's got a refrigerator right there with her Mountain Dew Code Reds, and she's got a catbird seat to see everybody walk by, and she's got the perfect people watching spot. So I think she likes that too.
Yeah, for sure. And it's got tunes inside now too.
And it's got tunes inside and outside. So yeah, Lauren's got us dialed on both directions.
Yeah. Thanks.
That's one of the things I was like, man, we got everybody on the outside can hear this cranking stereo. I'm like, but in the inside, we don't have anything. And so Lauren got speakers.
Yeah, kicker Jeremy and kicker J-Dub hooked them up, sent them out to me, and we got them lined out. So
those are the gem of the kicker line, to be honest with you. I think they're outdoor speakers. They can be indoor, but they're crazy good sound, and the price point is like ridiculously low on those. Like, how anybody that has a patio doesn't have a set of those speakers on their patio, I have no idea at this point at that price point.
It's crazy, and they are incredible quality, and and you just get some power to them, and it's like,
I think they're like under
wow.
$100, aren't they? Like it's something like $89 or something like that. I can't remember.
I honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, now I'm questioning myself. I'm like, what are they? Now we've got. I actually got to pull this up as we're on
All
air.
right.
I'm pulling this up because I'm like I'm doing wrong by the boys if I don't come up with this.
Um,
KB6 indoor outdoor, 129 each.
yeah,
So I was close. I said 89, 129 each. That for what these are, it is a great deal.
yeah, they kick it for sure. They were. I was impressed when I got them fired up. So with that, I think we should probably wrap up so everybody can call it an evening. I thought that Ohio was on Central Time until I got here. And it's actually on East, or until I was in Denver, and I'm going, wait, the math doesn't add up.
Math isn't mathing.
Whoops.
The math is not mathing. Math wasn't my strong point. Anyways, but geometry, if you want to know what size of ramp you need to hit to launch a 2,600-pound car 80 feet, I can tell you. I can do the geometry, and I can tell you. Math, yeah, not my strong point. So
time change, it doesn't work for you.
yeah. Well, you know how it goes. You're back and forth all the time. It's like,
I get it. It all blends together, especially if you live in Arizona, because we don't change times, and then it screws everybody up.
yes. The Oklahoma boys sometimes forget that right after the time change, because when the time changes, I go from 1 hour behind them to 2 hours behind them. So I'll get phone calls at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'll be like, oh, you get 2 minutes into a phone call, and they're like, oh, it's 5 a.m. there.
Yeah.
I probably woke you up. Yeah, but it's good. I'm up now. So anyway, all right. Hit us with all your sponsors first, and then all your social, like every place, website, everything.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously we've got Ford, Kawasaki, General Tire, been with me for 14 plus years at this point. Rigid Industries, obviously Kicker, been doing a lot of fun projects with them. Bomber, Rugged Radios. I've got so many partners, even ones that just came on with this Mach-E build, just in a smaller capacity and stuff like that. Really, really blessed, to be honest with you. Obviously the big one's Misadventure Life. Check us out, misadventurelife.com. Get some swag and some merch. If you're listening to this, you do want to buy something, if you DM me on Instagram, I will give you a code for percent off, one that I've got, friends and family. So we'll see who's listening that wants a discount. But
hot ticket.
Not going to give it out on air. You got to DM me, but I will give you the discount code via DM.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's the big one. And obviously I'm at Jim Beaver 15 on all the socials, and we got all kinds of YouTube stuff dropping. I think I'm sitting on 5-6 videos, full-length videos for YouTube right now. So we got a bunch of stuff we're going to be dropping there. So yeah, it's definitely, no rest for the wicked, but good times. I thank you guys for the time and coming on the show. Congratulations on 115 episodes. I mean, you guys are killing it. You're doing the damn thing, and that's awesome.
Thank you. It's 99 episodes ago was last time you were on. We're not going to wait 100 episodes to have you back on, but I will promise you, if we make it, you ready for this, Cole?
Go.
If we make it, you can have 215 also.
Okay. Well, yeah, definitely don't make me wait till 215. I'll come on with you guys anytime, but I will definitely do 215. You're going to get into a position I did, like when you start getting these marquee numbers, 150, 200 episodes, you got to almost throw a party. So I did that. Like one of my episodes, we did a Ken Block shop, this and that. So you guys gotta come up with something, man. I don't know. You got to bring in a camera and do something. I don't know. I'll invite you guys to my race shop if you want to do one there or something like that. But you got to do
Ooh.
something with your marquee one. We'll get a bunch of people. We'll get Mia Chapman to come in, and we'll just throw a party at the shop and do a podcast for you
That
guys.
would be so fun.
That would be sick.
I will. You tell me what episode you want to do that. If it's 150 or whatever it is, we will make something like that happen. We'll have some fun with it. We'll invite some people in, and we'll just have Cole come out to Arizona for a day or two, and we'll drink some beer and have a good time in the shop and do some podcasts.
Sold.
Ooh, that sounds good. What number, Cole?
We'll talk off air. Let's run some numbers.
I have a number in mind.
All right,
so-
let's do that.
All right. Sounds good. Jim, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you more than you know. People don't realize how much of an influence that you have been on this show and encouragement. And I also really appreciate the fact that myself or Cole can just throw you a text and go, hey, have you experienced this? Or, what should I do here? And man, and you're on it, unless you're upside down in a video shoot or something. And then it might take a few hours. But man, that means so much to us, especially, I mean, you're what'd you say? 20 since 2011?
Yeah, since 2011, I've been podcasting. I don't know. It was funny. My guys internally, Chris and Max, I've done so many different Rally America, Red Bull Global Rallycross, 3 different shows. My podcast one show. I've had an off-road only show for a couple years. We did it, and I was like, "Oh man, we got to be getting close to episode number 1,000 at some point." Chris and Matt are like, "Yeah, we got to be getting close." So I went and added up everything we've ever done. We're almost at 1,200 episodes.
Wow.
I was like, well, so much for that marquee episode. We're well over that at this point. You know what I mean? I was like, so it was just funny because we had to add up everything I've done in like this entire body of work over almost 15 years. We were well over 1,000 episodes.
Wow.
That's amazing.
I mean, holy cow. That's just that number. My mind is blown. I'm not surprised, but I'm just like, holy cow. So anyways, with that, we should probably wrap, huh, Cole?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
We'll let you get to bed, Lauren.
Yeah. It's I still got to eat dinner. I don't know what time it is here.
Oh, he's going to get hangry on us, Cole.
Yeah.
I still got to eat something.
He's leaving hints.
So, all right, Cole, what do you got?
Oh, Jim, I have so many questions for you next time, and it won't be 100 episodes until we do it. So, yeah, I got a notebook full of stuff. We'll have to rapid fire next time. So,
okay. Well, I mean, whenever you want to rapid fire, I'm all ears.
I love it, and thank you for all the help getting our show started and keeping your promise 99 episodes later and coming back.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime, guys. I appreciate everything you've done for me. I mean, Lauren, you do so much behind the scenes for me. It's not even funny. People don't realize, the class act of a guy you are. And Cole, you know what I mean? You're awesome. It's just one of those where I appreciate it. We're a small industry. We all stick together and,
Yep.
What is it? Rising tides float all ships, and I think that's the thing here.
Absolutely. I appreciate that so much, probably more than you know. And means a lot to me. And man, we're just stoked. I mean, MAddOG'S after show just keeps cranking, and Jim keeps pushing me. Now he's set the bar for a marquee episode and a party. So
my mind's already spinning. I'm like, we can get Mia, I can get Mark Gomez down from Havasu, I can get Anna Glennon, we'll get Sarah Price down. We're gonna throw a party. Like these are all people that are really close, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna throw a party here when you guys are ready. We're gonna have a podcast party.
that'd be rad. I love it. Yeah, awesome. All right. Well, we should. Jim, thank you.
All right. Thank you guys. Thanks for everything, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate you, brother. Wow. That's so much fun.
And we didn't even talk about one lap of racing. Not
No,
one.
just reinvigorates me to just keep going. We really are having fun at this. I know sometimes, especially grateful for you and the time that you give, especially special episodes like this where you have to give extra of your time that is very limited, Cole. I am truly grateful. Um, and other than that, it's time. Thank you, Kicker Performance Audio, for all your ultimate 12-volt audio needs. Kicker Performance Audio. Find them online, kicker.com, on Instagram at Kicker Audio. Every other Tuesday night live, 7:30 Central. Their TV show, Kicker Unmasked Live, on their YouTube channel, Kicker, and on their Facebook, Kicker. Bomber Eyewear, Bomber Safety Eyewear, where it all started. Bomber Floating Eyewear, Bomber World Champion Eyewear, Bomber Badass Eyewear. You can find them online. Over 40 frame styles, and I don't even know how many lens styles, prescription, clear, whatever you need, blue light, they got you covered. BomberEyewear.com. When you get to the cart and it's loaded up, be sure and type in that code MAddOG20. That's MAddOG20. Let them know we sent you and get yourself a little discount while you're at it. BomberEyewear.com or on Instagram at BomberEyewear. Assault Premium Off-Road Products. You can find them online, Assault Industries. That's assaultind.com or on Instagram at AssaultUTV for all your off-road products, be it your quad, your side-by-side, your off-road vehicle, accessories, tools, apparel. Assault has you covered. Check them out. Of course, Cole doing his announcer thing and available to shoot your vehicle out doing what it does in the desert on a race course. You can hit him up through Instagram at AFTR_podcast, and we'll get back to you on it for sure. Of course, Shutter and Whirl Media, Shutter and Whirl Photography, Shutter and Whirl on Instagram at Shutter and Whirl for all your video and still photography production needs, from pre-production to post-production. Handles all of our YouTubes and all of our edits expertly. Find her on Instagram at Shutter and Whirl. Her website is in the bio. Of course, Hey Geeks Marketing, handling our logos, our website, and a bunch of our other social media stuff, just helping us out for all your social media needs, website needs. If you can imagine it, Hey Geeks Marketing can make it happen. Just yell, Hey Geeks. Find her on the interwebs, heygeeks.com, or on Instagram at Hey Geeks Marketing. Cole, do the speech.
Make sure to rate and review, subscribe on your favorite streaming platform.
Man, oh man, that is so awesome.
It's the best.
Folks, thank you for being tolerant. Thank you for listening to us for 115 episodes. Share us with your friends. Smash that like button, as Scotty Dubler would say. And, just share us out there. We appreciate you. God bless our first responders. God bless our veterans. God bless our U.S. service people all around the world and the amazing work they do. God bless you, our fans. God bless America. Mad Dog out.
Enjoy the ride. You know what I mean? And I tell anybody in this industry, if you're in this industry and you're not having a good time, I mean, you're in the wrong damn industry. I mean, if you don't think off-road and dirt bikes and drifting and motorcycle racing and if you're not having a good time in this industry, I don't know what to tell you, because you are just not a fun person.